Call order the meeting of the City of Columbiana Planning Commission for September 11th, 2018. I'd like us all to rise for the invocation of the occasion and the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Lord, we acknowledge your presence among us tonight, and we know you are always with us. We pray for your guidance during this meeting. Give us the wisdom to work in the best interest of everyone in our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, would you call the roll? Here. Here. Here.
Brian?
Here. Thank you. We had two meetings during the month of August. We had a special meeting on August 8th, 2018, and we also had a regular scheduled meeting on August 14th, 2018. You have been all given copies of the meeting minutes, and I'd like to know if there are any questions or comments. Hearing none, they stand approved as submitted. There's no old business. We'll now turn to new business. First item on the agenda is the site plan review for Terry and Tim Rankin, who seek the Planning Commission's approval to remodel and open a meat market at 111 Columbiana Plaza, formerly Temple's Jewelry. Would you like to come forward and tell us a little bit about your plans and ideas?
Mr. Knoll, we have a basic floor plan if you guys want that.
Do you want a copy?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
We gave you one, but there's a revised one.
Okay, this revised.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of spaces.
Thank you.
Basically, first of all, we just want to thank you for this time you've allowed us. We came here 4 years ago seeking approval, but it just didn't go as planned. But this year, we met with Richard and Pam, and they graciously opened up their store and wanted to help us with this. So here we are, and we're seeking approval from you and seeing if there's any issues that we need to be concerned with as we go forward.
I'm totally excited.
So are we.
First of all, tonight's packet is the best packet we've ever got. We've got a lot of really good information. You've given us a very good thorough business plan, laid out here clearly what your objectives are and what you hope to accomplish. So we do appreciate that. Any questions from anybody regarding this plan?
Are you taking any cows or beef in to cut them apart and put them together?
Well, I hope we don't put them back together.
Explain a little bit about your problems and what you guys do.
Yeah, we're not going to be so-called slaughterhouse or anything like that. It's all inspected meat coming in. Now we do want to utilize local beef and pork and such, but that has to go to a place like Hearst Packing or Chamberlain's Meat.
As a kill?
Yeah, as a kill, yes.
Okay. So you're not going to have a kill room?
No.
Okay.
You will do some butchering?
Yes, yes. All fresh. We'll have boxed and fresh local. Yes.
The plan hopefully is also, if it works out well, is for me to fly Boston and work something out with the fish market and have fresh seafood flown in a couple times a week.
As fresh as we can get it.
Fresher than we can get it now.
Yes.
Right.
If we can cut out that middleman, it'd be great for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe take a minute just to explain
some of your product offerings, that, I mean, as the press finds out, it'll give you a little bit of a boost as to what you're looking to do.
Yeah, we are, there's gonna be a deli case, meats and cheeses. We're gonna utilize Walnut Creek and Troyer Farms. And we're gonna have fresh beef, pork, lamb, veal. If there's other, so-called red meats that we can utilize, like goats or whatever, if there's a call for it, we'll do that as well. We're gonna have fresh poultry, Gerber chicken, we're looking into having, which is, all raised in Kidron, Ohio, Don's chicken. We're gonna have a seafood case, like she said, and, is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, the fresh, we're also gonna be making in-store sausages, all kinds of different gourmet sausages and whatnot.
Hot dogs?
Hot dogs is on the
Hot
list,
dogs
yes.
and jerky?
We're gonna try making jerky. I don't have a so-called recipe, I've never made any before, but I will work on that, yes.
We also planned out a smokehouse, as well as we'll have free in-house sausage tastings on Saturday mornings.
Maybe work something out with birthday.
Yeah. Well, we've thought about that.
There's a lot of collaboration on Main
Yes,
Street.
yes.
Do you folks have any prior experience?
I've been a butcher since 2001, and currently I'm working at Hearst Packing right now.
But no personal retail?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
We have a video.
I owned a video store, but that's totally off the wall.
We have business background, just not, I mean, and he was the second, first cut at Giant Eagle for a long time, so. I mean, he was
First cutter,
And you plan personally to be in the business
full-time.
full-time?
Yes.
You also?
I am a nurse, no. I will be there in case he cuts his finger.
But you can't throw the things back.
Yeah. I can't throw the things back.
Clarify that.
You get back to.
I don't know.
Any other questions? From anybody?
I personally like the research that you've done and included here and how you believe this will fit into the community. I think you're dead on. I think there is a need for a high-end quality product that people will pay for. And your trends and trajectories that you're showing here, I mean, it's very, very thought out with the amount of work that's gone into this, and I think you'll do very well. I make a motion that we approve as submitted with, as long as the fire inspection.
There's a motion, second on the floor. When would you like to start?
Well, we're
Last
still,
year,
yeah, we're actually still waiting on the approval, so it's not,
it's been submitted to the SBA, it went on Friday, so we're just waiting on it to come back.
yes. But,
Are you securing funds for them?
yes, to the SBA, yes.
Yeah, we actually are using a finance fund out of Columbus, and they work with government programs to get stores, quality food stores in rural areas, and, well, organic we qualify.
How far along are you in the process?
Well, we submitted to the SBA on Friday, so we're pretty going through it.
Can you use any of your byproducts to make beer? To make beer?
Yeah.
We'll find a way.
They don't-
That's Brian.
It doesn't sound very good, does it?
There's also small business loan funds available to the county commissioners. Have you
We have.
researched that?
Yeah, we went to the CIC. We actually started with Mahoning Valley Economic Development Corporation and the CIC. Mahoning Valley threw out the CIC, said we didn't want to pay Bacon Davis wages for our services that are being rendered prior to. And so he was continuing on. He called me on Friday. I told him, we've got this far. He had suggested I continue with the capital fund. And when I told him they had already got the 1919 as a form that we do, and he said, then we're putting ours on hold because you're literally farther along than what I am. So that's what's happening.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? If hearing none, I'll ask call the roll.
Yes.
Donna? Yes. Rick?
Yes.
Tucker?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, the second item on the agenda is a zoning change request. Dr. Cope's previous home sits on 3 lots at 180 Duquesne Street. We would like planning commission to consider a zone change for this property from R2 to I1. This will enable him to use the house for office space. Dr.'s plans are to divide the home into 3 office suites and lease them.
The blue is what we're talking about there. The red is what's I-2 right now, this is our property. The green is our property behind the house, and the yellow is our property beside the house. We've been there since 1968, my wife and I. We pretty well bought up everything around us in the last years. It's a tough place for residential with the total supply across the way, the semis. So what works best for us is that it's hard to get people to live there for a long time, like we have. So we think it's better fitted for us and for the town to make that into I-2 or commercial or something besides residential.
So,
We're asking for 3 lots right now, the blue.
what is this?
That's zone industrial, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that the greenhouse, look at that map up there?
We planted pine trees in there, years ago when, you know, for a buffer zone.
Go back,
Pardon?
where's green?
No, along from Duquesne Street in.
Okay.
If you go out by there, they told me that they wouldn't grow, but now they're about 30 feet tall.
Okay.
Right next to the creek, can't blow a pine tree next to a creek, something's wrong.
Is there a buffer right now? If you're going toward the direction of the school, there's a house there, looks fairly.
The yellow,
Little ranch right next.
Little Ranch, yeah.
Is there,
That's our house.
you own that house as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we own.
Is that what we're looking at here on?
No, we're talking about the 3 blue ones right there.
Understood, but I mean, so that other house is on the yellow section?
Yes, and then the lot next to it also.
The yellow, the small house is on lot 5, circle 5, and there's an empty lot on lot 7. There's a buffer lot right here, there's nothing built on that.
The story on that number 7 lot was, it was bought by Don Leonard years ago to put a duplex in there, and he couldn't do it. So then he said, "Do you want to buy it?" I said, "Yeah, no, I can have buy it for a buffer." So we did.
Doctor, doesn't some of your existing business jet out into this green area behind your existing home?
No.
No?
The driveway, the white line between the blue house and the red is the driveway.
Okay.
And that goes straight back, so everything to the, south. You know, the west of that line.
West.
Right. There's just too much industry out here to not do something.
Can you confirm, Ogie, that the green is high? You guys are more accurate.
Are these resident, these are, the properties you're talking about, is that R2? Is that R2?
And I don't know that.
I'm pulling up the GIS map to try to get a better view of.
In your packet was a zoning map, that shows.
Yeah, but it's hard to, I couldn't discern.
Doctor, you're not gonna change any exterior,
No, nothing changed.
just petition inside?
It already is. I mean, as we go on,
Right.
I mean, it's just as we should have built that big a house in that area, straight up. I was told not to, but, we lived there, and my son lived there, but when we did it, I said, someday when people decide to move out of there, we're in there, so we divided it off when we built it. We had three separate electric meters, we had 3 separate gas meters. It all was plumbed and everything, we had furnaces, everything separate. But it was done that way intentionally 10, 15 years ago, as we kept buying or building onto the house. I overbuilt the house in the area that it's at, straight up. I can never get my money back out.
You should have pulled back there, don't you?
No, probably fill it, I'll fill that in.
The lots 8 and 9, directly adjacent to yours, there are houses on those lots there?
On the white,
Yes.
there's one on 52.
Okay, this is frontage.
There's a house. We tried to buy that one too, and
The lot of 52, the house on the lot, on the pitch lot, is in very poor shape. It got bought by a company out of California that's turning and trying to rent it to own. People's house is in very poor shape. And then the house to the right of that is owned by the Tysons, and that house has been in poor shape since I was in high school.
what we're trying to do is just buy them up and tear them all down. That's what we're trying to do.
Those 2 lots, the houses aren't, but those are residential zoned.
Yeah, as it's facing toward the residential side, I prefer to see this commercial more than industrial.
Yeah, why do you want it industrial?
It's next to the industrial. Commercial's fine with me, but, I didn't want spot zoning. I mean,
We don't want,
Is the back behind there, is that industrial or commercial?
It looks like it's,
'Cause I can't
from
tell.
here, it's almost positive.
Like I-2?
I-2. If you look where the stream crosses right there, kinda gives you an idea where you're at.
What street are you talking about?
To your west.
Okay, well, yeah, right, yeah.
What
The
are the-
creek across the red dot, the red lot of the I-2.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What is the Downey properties across the street? Are they RI?
Yeah, those are I-2, right across the street where, the Downey.
Yeah, the Downey properties.
That looks like, R2 to me.
So yeah, you got a mix of R and I in the middle of it. These ones right here. On the other side, I'm just trying to understand what was going on in that difference.
you think those are I-2, you should say?
So the Downey property would be R2.
Number 18, land of roars, that is I right there.
Right, that's
Yeah.
I-2.
And then there's a 100-foot lot right there.
What about the Arborgas property behind it? 'Cause I know there's a workout center on some of that, and there's a business in that. Wish you could be I or C.
It was residential. Where are you at, though?
Arborgas behind it.
Off of Pittsburgh Street.
Right.
Which kind of goes up to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what the whole block scenario is doing in that area.
Or he has the workout center there, and he has the studio there, so.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. Carve that whole section in there, the yellow lot, the green lot, RV gas and everything, make all that the same.
That's
looks like that is all, is that commercial or, this is, look at that block is all commercial, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that block almost all the way up to the triangle where the roads used to be at a triangle. Is that accurate? Okay, so,
Yeah, check on that left.
so this right, well, I can't tell the colors. So this one right here is R2, it says.
Yes.
It's calling this R2. So this is R1, and this is I2.
And the blue is what? You say that's?
R2.
R2.
This is R2.
So the stuff across the street would be residential.
Right, that's R2, that's R2, this is an industrial block.
Yeah, where horses at, or Dixie's at, outside?
There's a creek right there, right?
Yeah.
There's a creek and a train track, or Dickie between those two right there.
So really you have, where else do you have industrial that's also against residential? Let's see,
Industrial, commercial. All out through there.
Now, we established what is a green in yet?
From the looks of that,
We got updated though.
on the next drawing, you have marked by two.
On here, it looks like, yeah, this right here, this R2.
what is the block of industrial back there?
That's spot, that runs.
Right.
Why can't we just make the green, the yellow, and the blue all one zoning unit? That backs right against Arvin, that backs right against the shop, the car repair place.
Right.
But the problem is we're trying to understand exactly what green is. Is green actually R, or is it actually I? That's what we're having.
On here, it looks like it's R.
Well, saying, let's just change the green, let's just change the green, the yellow, and the blue to commercial, not industrial, commercial.
I wouldn't be comfortable doing that tonight without looking at it. I mean, if we're this unclear on something,
We're gonna tell you what's the next meeting.
I think it'd be good if we knew exactly what everything was zoned as.
I mean, to put a commercial between an industrial and residential is not necessarily a bad thing, but we have to understand exactly what's going on back there.
That's what it is.
Right.
I'm much more favorable to make it commercial than I am industrial.
And what's that Millar Enterprises back there, that was the old safety lift company, what is that, that should be industrial, I would think.
I would think.
Right. Because what would be ideal, well, if over time, if that builder supply business ever moves out of there, let's talk long term, what the goals would be, because you never know. Would we want that area to be industrial, commercial, or residential?
What, back behind it, doesn't have a button.
No, but I'm saying this, and Matt could also talk about putting sidewalks down across that space, which It is industrial property inside of town that's kind of spot between a bunch of residential, is really what it is.
Right.
And the question is, as our responsibility of long term, what would we, if that concrete plant decides to move out at this time, what would we want that area by the school ever become? I think we want it to be out of industrial.
I would agree.
I would agree with that.
I would think we either wanna go commercial or residential. And commercial wouldn't necessarily, it's not a great thing, but as far as a restaurant or a store or something like that, right now it doesn't seem like that could ever happen, but a lot happens in 20, 50 years over time.
Right.
So whatever we figure, I think we might wanna look to our goal in that direction, if that ever gets redeveloped, to slowly get out of industrial. Cause there's no big factories in St. Brandon, really there.
Right.
Like you have a tenant in that little ranch right there, you have a tenant in there?
He's been there for 20 years. Never moved out.
I don't think we've got the rest of all these things either.
Whatever we do, we have to go through the variance process. Right? I mean, it would have to be, if we're going to change, it would have to go through public meetings, so I'm getting at.
I think we can make a suggestion.
All you can do is recommend that you do.
We can make.
Yeah, we can recommend.
Right.
The council would still have to
Right on.
formally make this change, correct? And it looks like there's still several things, these weren't in the packet, with, statements and giving names and addresses of all the owners of property lying within contiguous, that wasn't in here. I mean, at this point, it was just a conversation to get things rolling. It says that answers, to each one of these items have to be met. Statement of proposed text change for the regulation, statement of proposed change in the number shape, that's been submitted. And then evidence that the existing zoning code is unreasonable with respect to the particular property, that it deprives the property owner of the lawful reasonable use of the land.
You in town for a while, Todd?
Yeah.
I called you with the meeting over there. Sure.
Yeah.
I think for us to do diligence, we have to know exactly how that property is owned right now. You know, the contiguous area, you know, what is it all? But I do agree with, Tucker that I think we want it to be commercial before we want it to be industrial.
I don't see a need for any consideration of industrial.
Exactly.
No,
Commercial is satisfied.
really, the question is, do you wanna change residential at all?
And that's the question.
Well, and the question is, my thought process also, is that, let's say that the question is, do we want to convert it from residential to commercial? And we've had a hard time doing that, because we want, but our other thing is, there's property across the street, which is the concrete plant, if that ever got, and they don't wanna doze that, and we have an opportunity, but we wanna try to convert that to commercial, and get it out of the industrial era.
Would you have any interest in that, though? Would you have, in the contiguous?
Not anymore. I'm 72. I'm you know.
You're kind of near your son.
Right.
Right now, I got hands full with this business.
We build buildings,
Yeah.
metal buildings.
Yeah. I get it.
In commercial areas.
So no, I think a push over time to convert it over to commercial or residential, but I think our goal would be to get it out of the industrial phase.
Is there any water that would come there, like if it was residential, where that creek is?
That floods across there.
Okay, right, where
It
it
is,
comes.
and,
The basement of the house has flooded probably 8 times since I lived there. And what we finally did, we finally went down the Farmer's Mountain and we put in a big crank valve. So when the water came and the water goes across the road, what do, Chuck? You downstairs and you crank your valve shut. We've had a foot, half a water in the basement probably before, probably 4 or 5 times.
If you like water hydraulics, it's a very interesting thing in the city, and I took a glance at it. The water, the culvert comes underneath the road, okay, and then the culvert dumps back into the creek. Well, where it comes across the road and dumps back into the creek, there is a sewer line, about a 12-inch sewer line, cast iron, is right in the middle of the flow pattern. Well, when the water's low, it comes out and dumps underneath that cast iron pipe. When the water gets up a little bit high, that cast iron pipe acts as a lead, and the water goes both ways and backs everything up. And there's no way to fix it. There's a good physics problem in college.
So, it really would not behoove somebody to wanna build it, really.
Residential. It'd be
Right.
great for commercial. Great for commercial, but, residential.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until we can get specific plats of the zoning, so we know. If we have to make a motion to recommend a change of zoning, we need to know what the zoning we're changing.
I feel really stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, so I make a motion that we table this until we can get more information.
Now, do I resubmit next month then?
As long as we have the information.
Okay, go back to you.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay,
Okay.
and hopefully we'll have that information for the next meeting.
I served on planning commission for 13 or 15 years. So I understand planning commission. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
All right.
And thanks for all your time being on the planning commission.
It was fun.
Thank you. Okay, there's a motion, and a second on the floor. Any further questions on the motion to table until next meeting with all of the existing identification of all the zoning in that area? If there's no other questions, I'll call for the roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Motion carries. Okay, we have, item C, site plan review. Vanessa and Brian Lama seek planning commission's approval to open a wine manufacturing business at 14415 Suite 6, South Avenue Extension, the former Arrowhead Lane.
I should say beer, otherwise.
Was that?
I should say beer, but otherwise.
Beer manufacturing instead of wine.
I thought, as soon as I read it, I was like, that's not what the, okay.
Well, the plan lists maybe both.
Correct.
Would it be okay to say?
Okay. Yeah, sure. And may I, could you identify yourself?
Yeah, I'm right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, you want to tell us a little bit about your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I'm nearly lifelong resident. I went to Columbiana High School. I had a Mr. Dan back there many moons ago. Very fun.
You can't.
Very fun.
That's what he said.
But, I understand this is a particular news item to you guys, the alcohol in town, and, the different permits can be quite confusing. I, want nothing more to be forthcoming, honest, straight. So, please feel free to, any clarification on any project about the different permits and how they work, but more than happy to address any questions, concerns you have.
And we're talking about this grudge brewing.
Okay, so the unit itself, he's partitioning, he's got the entire bowling area picture there. It's about 22,000 square feet, we're looking at 2,800 of it, actually just the rear. So on the picture that you have, it's just the right-hand portion, rear facing the tree. That would be the unit 6 that we're discussing.
And you're renting?
Yes, we will be
renting.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
You've already received your A1C
Yes,
license.
so that is one of the questions. A1C is a particular permit, it's just for manufacturing. So you can't serve anyone else's, can't serve liquor, you can't bring in someone else's kegs, you can only manufacture and selling over here, the A1C permit. So it's site specific, and this site, basically they see that there's no school, church within 500 feet of it, and essentially it is approvable for A1C. I have no intention for liquor serving anyone else, and suggesting A1C permits all over. Except perhaps manufacture of wine, if I determine you can do those simultaneously, I'm not sure about that yet. But it would be your own creation, serving only your own stuff.
If this would be identical to the type of license that Bird Fishing.
It's identical to Bird Fishing's original use.
Right.
Yeah. Similar clientele, similar structure, relative upper scale, prices higher. You know, the clientele itself is paying for higher beers, higher price points. Very limited hours, not open past 10. This isn't a place that you linger for long periods of time. It's just stop, have a couple of nice places, move on.
Is there any discussion of any other businesses going into that space?
Yeah, he's mentioned, the owner has mentioned a couple, I think maybe a dress shop for one of those front units, but I haven't heard too much. I think he's planning on doing 4 units across the front.
Maybe you could do bachelorette parties.
Yeah. 4 or 5 units across the front, and so I'm looking at the rear.
An engineering company I'm involved with, I was hired to do interior design of the facility. And we were actually out there really going over it. It's actually beautiful inside now compared to what it used to be. It's all been cleaned out. They actually painted all the bottom of our joists. It's actually it surprised me the structural soundness of the building that's out there right now. But we actually went over drawing today on his layout was one of the layouts proposed. Then there's actually going to be 3 or 4 other layouts and designs across the front of the building. So we have to then to get today with the preliminary layout of what's going to go to. So they know that's coming to the planning commission, but we're just developing it on blocks right now. Yeah, I think they put a new roof on the building too. So it's all been updated.
When are you looking at, what are your plans?
Sure, permits are tricky, and as I go through this process, especially with alcohol, it's not very linear. There's no playbook. You do A, B, C, D, E. It's like a spider web. Each state department has no idea what the other one's doing. It's very complicated. With the permits, a very aggressive party would be this November. I don't think that's going to happen until it be spring. I wouldn't try to open middle of January, but spring is everything is approvable or to your liking.
I like the idea for phase 2 of the back patio back there too. It would be very nice.
You just don't, unless you go see it, it's really quite quaint back there. It's cozy, it's neat. That back space with the grass, it drops off to a little creek that feeds Arrowhead Lake. If that was cleaned up a little bit, it's quite a nice view back there.
And it says you intend for possibly a food truck.
If that's with permission. It's gonna have no food at all, within premises, so if we did offer a food offering, it would be in the form of food truck, if that's allowed.
I mean, I think it would make sense, but I think that would have to be requested by the building owner.
Okay.
Is there any restrictions to residential neighborhood and the proximity to it?
Well, I don't think he's already got his license.
No, he's already,
Okay.
I'm sure the owner can check that out.
So, actually, I had to do it for the state comes out and they do an inspection of the building and just make sure, and I included it, they say it is approvable by the state.
It looks like there's restrictions with distance to
Churches.
churches and parks.
You know, there's also I think there's a full barrier there. There's a mail station.
Yeah, no.
And then I think there's pine trees off along that in between for.
So somebody's house back in that development.
They're just condos. It's Arrowhead Bay, and they have an entrance.
But they can't visit, he did this,
There's a buffer.
yeah.
There's a buffer.
There is a nice buffer.
There's a nice buffer. Okay.
I make a motion that we approve this as submitted.
I'll second that.
Motion and second on the floor. Is there any further discussion on approval of this site plan review? Hearing none, we'll call the roll. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, just as a point of clarification, we changed this motion to beer, correct?
Yeah, well, his plan is beer, what was submitted was for beer.
I know.
The agenda, yeah,
I just wanna make sure that we got it right. And if he would ever wanna do something else, that would have to be discussed a little later.
He explains that about the wine. You'd have to be,
There's a second license, so A1C is for beer, manufacturer's own beer. Oddly, let's say A1C is about $1,000. A manufacturer of wine is $76, that's it. So, for another offering,
why not?
if I can manufacture a couple of tap handles of wine.
margin's better too.
Okay, so I think for future reference, that's all I wanted to clarify. If anybody wanna ask in the future, this is not then only for beer?
I don't know if you can simultaneously hold both permits. I don't know that answer yet.
We don't want to get in the habit of issuing a permit, or saying, you didn't have a permit for that yet.
I made a motion to approve this as presented, and what's presented in here is A1C for brewed beer.
Right.
But the plan also suggests the ability for him to apply for a wine brewing license.
That's what I wanted to be clear.
Yeah, but it doesn't have it right now.
The 6 months from now, nobody's gonna come back and say to us, we didn't say wine was okay.
Correct. Yeah, no, I mean, it's in here.
Within the-
If he would get his license for it, and it was submitted in here that way, my intent for my motion was to not care, because they're in the same manufacturing license. But, I mean, if was confusion on that, we can amend that.
I just wanna make sure we know what we're saying.
Well, it's a good question, though. Do we want to say, if we approve somebody that's for a beer license, and they go get wine, do we want to have any say in that coming back through here again?
I mean, it's still a manufacturing license, and it's site specific, nothing's changing.
Well, what about, Nicole?
The question
She
is,
has a line.
Right, so like if she
So
went,
if she wanted beer, it's okay for her to put it in?
I mean, I wouldn't.
I just wanna make sure.
I wouldn't care.
do we want her to
Well,
come
I
back?
wanna know what's going in where.
That's the question.
Do we want her to come back?
We want him to come back.
I want her to come
We want him to come back when, at some point in time that we know that his
Because the business would
or
still be the same business, and it would still be the same manufacturing business.
What,
I just wanna know.
it appears that our concern, not to interrupt Donna, it appears that our concern is something secondary to his plan, and he also covers that in here. So I don't see what the question is.
What the question is, though, everyone that's come in has had that license first before we give an approval, pretty much, correct? Am I
Right.
correct? And
Well,
that's,
with the exception of Wheeler's, the wing restaurant, he did not have one, he had applied for one, and hadn't
Right.
received, still hasn't.
okay, and that's what I'm trying to understand, because the question is, so we've authorized or approved it without actually having a license.
Right.
And you know what, if someone's gonna spend $1,000 on a license, they probably wanna know approval sometime beforehand.
I can lend two pieces on that. If the sites you use or have, it's site specific. So if ultimately you don't go into that site, they will refund your permit fee. So just for that, and then I had another point, let me think. If I've lost it.
I go back to the original comment that we tell the community that we identify what is gonna happen in a particular building. I'm not speaking against the one, that's not.
No, I understand.
My point is, do we wanna make it clear that if they wanna do two things, that we have knowledge of?
I guess all I'm suggesting is that whether you're fermenting grain or fermenting grape, you're still fermenting and you're still manufacturing and you're still selling the same product. It's still, tastes different, but it's not like you're manufacturing a vehicle, you're still manufacturing alcohol.
I know where you're coming from, but I would rather explain that he's either getting a wine license and a liquor, and a beer license.
Yeah, I'm not certain you can hold it simultaneously.
I'm not
I
saying,
don't think you can.
I don't want someone to just walk in and say, well, I want a beer license, or not a beer license, a wine license. And somebody thinks, oh, well, nobody's serving wine, so that's okay. And then the next day, they are doing beer and wine. I wanna explain to the public
Gotcha.
what we're doing.
And he's not, he says he's investigating the feasibility of wine.
That was my point. If you read that, it's very self-explanatory.
Okay.
Yeah, he's investigating, which is, to me, I would like to see him come back to have a separate thing, cause it's not a major deal, it's not a point of against it, but it's a point of knowledge, okay?
Point of knowledge.
And all he asked was, he investigated the feasibility.
That's
Right.
fine. There's nothing in that. But if it would come to fruition.
But in this, it says
I think it's a-
approval to open a wine manufacturing.
I think it's a typo.
It's a typo.
It is a typo,
This entire thing is about brewed beer.
I know.
Okay.
But then he brought up about the wine, so I didn't know
Makes sense.
what was
I'm-
going on.
I'm taking the motion tonight that we're talking about beer.
Okay.
Now, he's gonna investigate it, he's been really forthcoming about that, and he may come back at a later
Right.
date and say, hey, I wanna do one.
And if you can hold both of them, let us know.
Sure.
So we
We'd
understand.
like to know that.
That's another point, just to help you guys understand, a lot of people, we're doing the A1Gs first, it's kind of coming first, because if the site can't hold a license, then there's no sense even coming before you to find out. So it's sort of the first step to see if it actually can be a brewery.
And we do appreciate you letting us know your other plans, that was well written as well.
Thank you.
The one thing I do, this is a strange piece of property in Columbiana that is,
Oh, I know.
no, as far as what is it? It's in the city of Columbiana, but it's in the
Beaver
Denver
Township.
County.
Beaver Township.
Right, in different county.
It's Mahoning County, but it's fully annexed into Columbiana, I have to go back. and-
So it goes to the Mahoning County Building Department.
I think so.
Yes. So it was a very strange island piece of property. Because when the engineering company was involved with putting the roof on it,
I think you had to go through the state, didn't you?
I think we had to go through we had the paperwork on it. I thought we had to go through the county, Mahoning County, because it was a strange island piece of property. I have all the stuff on it, I'll give you the next time you stop by, I can show it to you. But it was very strange like that, because we actually applied for a building permit through Mahoning County on this one. And then they said it's an island piece of property for some reason.
Okay, so we've had the motion in a second, and, we've had some further discussion, I would call for the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're all cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in, good luck to you. Our next item is a replat. Tom Maple would like to replat lot 76 and 77. The replat will enable him to build on the property and also create an invisible roadway to the town center for emergency use. Tom?
Thank you.
Thank you.
My camp area is a dead-end street which ends towards 14, and it's right behind the town center, behind our commercial development. And lot 76 is no longer a buildable lot because we put a walkway on it, and it includes concrete and pavers for the fire department to use as an emergency entrance in the camp area. I don't know why the rule, but it's because it's a dead end. The length of the dead end street required an alternative access road. So we did that. It's been And now we have, basically a half a lot, half of 76, we want to transfer over to make 77, a much bigger, nicer lot. I have somebody interested in buying it. So that's what we're trying to do.
And that walkway is very nice now. It's used daily.
Great.
We put, lights alongside of it so it could safe at night, and, people were using it for part of their routes when they jog and walk, so.
And Tom went through the efforts of asking the neighbors about the lighting itself and whether how it would affect them and put lights in that they were completely okay with. He's been tremendous to work with.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good. Sounds good, Tom. Is there a motion on that?
I'll make
Any
the
first?
motion. Yeah, Route 5, 76, 77.
Second. Okay, now, is there any other questions or comments for Tom on that new plot?
No, you just threw out the end.
Thank you. I'm glad to give you an easy subject tonight.
Okay, okay, hearing no further questions, can I call the roll?
Tucker,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes, thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, item E, vacate street. This will follow up on our last month's meeting. The Columbiana Boiler Company is here, for this meeting with the plat of the section of Railroad Street to be vacated, and therefore seeks the planning commission's final approval and recommendation to council for street closure.
I'm Chuck Worby, I'm representative for Columbiana Boiler. I turned in, this evening, both a map and a legal description prepared by, Mr. Chamberlain, surveying, which gives you all the legal description for what we're, proposing to do there with closing down, a section of Railroad Street between West and Middle.
Very good, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're looking at the closure. A quick question, has this been discussed, at the last meeting, we talked about Comco Industries.
Yes.
Has there any?
Yeah, we've done some of that with Rick. Whether or not we haven't pursued it, I guess, to the fullest extent yet. If it is allowed and we can build, I would discuss that further with him. But he, at the time, he had no qualms over it.
I did talk to an employee of Comco, and they did indicate to me, I'm not saying, I did not talk to Rick Friday, but who's the chief operating officer there. But I talked to an employee who said Comco does not use Railroad Street for its,
Yeah, they typically send their trucks up West Street. They'll come in, I guess, off of, what is it, Columbiana Lisbon Road there by the underpass. They'll come around from the backside and they send them out, West Street.
Any other questions on this?
I drove down the street the other day, was looking at it. The street is in very bad shape. You can see from the truck traffic, the concrete curb is actually pushed away and rolled up.
It's been like that for
It's
years.
been like that for a long time. The couple concerns I had is that we don't have anything from Comco officially saying that they're okay with this. I don't know if you start that with
You can't do it, require their signature. Right?
No. Columbiana Boiler runs all these.
Gotcha, okay.
Has that been officially discussed with Comco?
Oh, I mean, I met with them on site,
Okay.
at the corner, stood out there for 15 minutes looking at it.
So you feel that you're comfortable with?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, now that's the biggest thing I wanna make sure that
And you're recommending it to council, so.
Okay.
I have time to get a
letter from.
letter from.
I can do that.
Okay. My other concern would be, is that when we talked about this last time, is that if the utilities and the relocation of the utilities are too expensive to build there, do we look to open the street back up again, or we're gonna permanently abandon the street?
The vacation would be pending the project moving forward.
Okay, and that's what, I don't wanna vacate a street, and it turns that it's not feasible,
Right.
and then all of a sudden have a vacated street that,
No, I
There's
understand.
many projects down the road, or many parts, or many phases of this that could railroad this whole project.
Right, right.
Some of that would be moving the high tension poles, all that kind of stuff that needs to be done.
Right.
But if we cannot vacate the street,
It
it's
does-
just an investigation
Right.
further.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I think we should put a limitation on it if, well, I don't know how just, we could put a time limitation on it, like 3
Council
years.
would have to do
Council
that.
would have to do that.
This is just a recommendation to council to vacate the street, and council would formally act on that.
Yeah, we can work with Mark to make sure that we've got all the stuff, yeah.
It is easy.
Council has to, the planning commission makes a recommendation. If planning commission has any concerns and puts that in the recommendation, then obviously council is going to be aware of it. So you could always do that. And the utility piece, I think that was something discussed at council too, so, you know, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. Council's aware of the utility concern, and I think everyone, including Columbiana Boiler, has that concern.
I'd like to put a motion that if it's not built on, if it's not built on within 3 years, that, I mean, to me, that's not this short, it's not a race, this is a marathon to get this, whatever the Columbiana Boiler wants to do, but I don't want a street vacated for a long amount of time.
It's a long process.
Do you think 3 years is adequate enough time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, so this motion is now that we're going to,
Recommend the council.
The vacation of that.
and recommend the council for the street closure, based on,
Construction in 3 years and pending utility, did you know about utilities? No. That 3 years to solve all of the problems.
Start of construction,
Yeah. Yep.
not completion of construction.
Not complete, just start, just
Yep.
put a shovel on the ground.
Yep,
And this is just a recommendation to council as well.
yep, I understand.
you got that, Deanna? You okay? Okay, so motion, did we get a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the second, any further discussion? If not, call the roll.
Brian?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Tucker?
Thank you very much.
And if after 3 years you're not quite close, you just come back and say, hey, we want to extend it, and no one's gonna have a problem with that, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, item F, site plan review. Jody Ward, representing Four Wheel Drive, seeks the planning commission approval to allow one spot for food truck in the front parking lot area for business located at 44488 State Route 14. And
Hi, I'm Jerry. It's a food concession here, it's not a truck, but same thing.
Right.
I just wanted to get I need a 1 day permit, that's all I'm here for, just to get a permit for 1 day for September 22nd.
You can get that right tomorrow.
You know, that,
Is it a private event?
it's open for public.
Okay. Well,
And I got permission from them.
Is what we're talking about?
It's a jamboree, yeah. And I called there like a month ago, and they wouldn't let me come do it because they said they had to get permit for every food concession, and I had to come there. And last year they had 13 people. So I went there and went and saw them in person, and I asked if I come there and do my ugly map that I draw. I came last minute and got it done, but I talked to them, and I got permission from them guys to do it. They told me I had to come get permit. And I had to come here, and it was okay.
They need a space okay at their facility.
But if this is a special event, which we haven't got approved yet by council, they didn't come to council this year with a letter, so I've got work to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, but if it's the event,
September 22nd is 1 day. It used to be 2 days, now it's Saturday from 9 to 5.
Like a big Jeep?
Yeah.
This is a cool thing. isn't it?
Yeah, it's, I don't know if it's as big as it was, because there's only 7 workers now, it goes 168. There was used to be 13 food trailers, now it's gonna be just me, and we said it had like, I think last year was 130 some vendors outside. Now they're only gonna have 4 of them out there. They're around like 10 tents or something.
Wait, how
They're
many,
from California bought or
how
something.
many employees?
There's only 7 now out there. There was 168.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know, I
it's been sold a bunch of different times, I know that.
Yeah. I've been going out there for years.
So, if council, if they come in front of council, and it's a special event, then we don't need a site-specific
Correct.
license.
That's correct.
Do they have to come in front of council, or?
They typically do if they need our help, but it might be a full private event this year that, remember, we used to go in wordingly, go out through the field, but since it's such a, maybe it's just a really super small event.
I mean, it isn't really small.
Yeah.
So, I didn't even know I didn't get one until I called them to find out. Well, they told me that's why they didn't want me, because they didn't want to have to come here and do this, they wanted some of their workers to do it.
Yeah.
Do you have french fries?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I get them working for Smelly right.
We'll make some calls, but I don't think this, no big deal. He's not gonna be camping out there.
No, I'm just there from 9 to 5, and they told me I had to get a permit to come, or I wouldn't be allowed.
Okay.
So, I said it's $25.
Yeah, you can see August, tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow.
We'll do that.
Do we not need to vote?
Do we not need a motion that
I
night?
don't think so.
Okay, I think we're good. Thanks, Jody. Just get your contact information, August.
I don't know, yeah, talk to him. Just come, what time you open, what time? 8 o'clock, I'll be there. I mean, I'll be up early, but what time you close?
4:30.
Alright.
Okay. Item G. This item is a discussion item, and we would like council to discuss some recent concern about the need for the city playing a role in the decision-making process when it comes to alcohol. And I don't, Brian, would you like to
Sure.
talk about this?
No, I mean, it's, I think it was the last council meeting. Yeah. And I think, Councilmember McBain brought up concerns in regards to planning commission and what we're allowing on Main Street, and whether there should be controls and whatnot. And, I think from the planning commission's part, if a state license is given and a site is zoned for a specific business, I don't know legally how we could tell somebody no. So, I mean, first and foremost, I think that needs to be addressed with any member of the city that's here, to know that the planning commission can't pick and choose specific businesses. If someone meets the legal requirements to have a business in our city, they're welcome to. That said, I do have some concerns over, last month, we were asked to, approve, the wing restaurant here pending a license. And it's come to my attention since then that there's been above and beyond the request for a brewing license for full liquor permit. State says you can't hold one and the other, it's one or the other. I don't understand where they're even going with it. But I do think that if someone is representing themselves to the planning commission, basically what you were talking about earlier, Donna, of a brewery versus a winery versus something else. If someone first represents themselves as a restaurant, or a pool hall, and then comes back and says, no, I wanna add this or change this, and change the dynamic of the business, I think we have a right to know and have say so. Furthermore, I think if somebody tries to apply for one license with the state, tell us one thing and then change after the fact, we have every right to make a recommendation to the state of our intentions and feelings towards, how someone's trying to go around the city. In this case, the original application was for Rails to have a brewing facility and a separate one for the wing facility. We removed it from the planning commission, but never removed it from the state, for the brewing. And, it's come to my attention, he has no intention of removing that. And so I think we as a planning commission body need to make some form of motion of our displeasure of that, and also to forward that along to the state that we were told one thing, represented one thing, and something else entirely has been submitted to them. And at the Wing Restaurant, an A1C license has been applied for according to, planning commission request, and the meeting minutes and what we approved was for A1C, and they turned around and has applied for a full liquor license. I think the state needs to know whether we would be on board with an approval of that nature. And I think a full liquor license would probably come in front of council anyway for a hearing, but I think before it ever comes to that, I think since they came here and represented one thing to us, I think we need to maybe, take a vote of action to let the state know how we feel about it.
I agree with you.
The only caveat I'm going to make, having done a little bit of research, having discussed things with the Division of Liquor Control, the manufacturing permits, I think everybody up here is aware, are different than a sales permit for alcohol. D permits and A1A and A1C permits are light years apart. If somebody wants to open up a liquor establishment, an establishment that's permitted to sell beer, wine by the glass, or spirituous liquor, mixed drinks, typically they're going to have to be in a precinct that is wet. All right? The exception is if you have a site-specific location. Now, that means for site-specific location, for let's say a D permit, you have to go on the ballot. You have to get permission from the electorate to be able to have the division actually issue the permit. When you talk about manufacturing, whether it be wine or beer, that whole landscape changes dramatically. Normally, if a person applies for a permit, for a D permit, let's say, the local subdivision, the local municipality is going to be given notice of that. With manufacturing, they don't notify anyone, straight from the Liquor Control Department's mouth. The opportunity, according to what I've been told, is to complain about it is upon renewal, which that is something that's right in the revised code. So if somebody that has an A1A or an A1C, and by the way, A1 permits are over 31 million barrels. Those are, could be wrong on that, but it's a very large scale operation. A1C is normally the smaller type of operation. But upon renewal is where Department of Liquor Control actually notifies the legislative body. In this case, it would be City Council. So, with the manufacturing licenses, it is a totally different animal than with any other liquor permit.
But there's been a license applied for the sale of beer and wine, site-specific, non-brewing.
Well, when it's manufacturing, Department of Liquor Control does not actually heed local option. Now, they do when you get to the larger permit, but they don't heed it with smaller locations. Smaller manufacturing.
I guess what I'm saying is that the license that I was shown was for not manufacturing. It's for selling Coors, Bud, whatever, over here at the Wing Restaurant. It was approved for A1C brewing only, manufacturing your own. So he's applied for a different license than we approved.
If he, okay, for example, if that applicant wishes to have a D5 license or a D6 license, he would have to apply for that. Department shouldn't issue it without checking the local option isn't there yet. which would mean they should be telling the applicant that he or she, whoever it is, would need to go on the ballot. That's what should happen, because that's a dry precinct. Now, if it were a wet precinct, that could be a little bit different. If there was a license available, that's altogether different. But this is a dry precinct we're talking about.
Yeah, so what harm would there be in this body voting to notify them that?
No harm. It's just what vehicle we're gonna use to notify them and who. It may be the Liquor Commission, it may be Department of Liquor Control. All I'm saying is I'm not sure what attention they pay to it when it's a manufacturing permit.
Well, I think our city will pay attention to it, though, to at least know that the members of this body are watching and don't appreciate being told one thing when other actions take place.
And I don't have a problem with it. All I'm saying is from a practical standpoint, we're dealing with something that is completely different than any other type of liquor permit.
The point that, I would like to make in this discussion is these licenses that you're talking about or you're speaking about, people in our community are going online and they're seeing those license applications online and they're saying, you know, and I know people are talking saying, oh, well, you know, this license is out there, you know, and the city's doing nothing about it.
And my point is, the state doesn't even involve the city in the discussion when it's manufacturing.
Well, I know manufacturing.
But there's been licenses applied for that are non-manufacturing.
That's what I'm speaking.
If it's non-manufacturing, the Department of Liquor Control shouldn't be even issuing the license without local option. They should advise the applicant. Now, could the city make sure that the Department of Liquor Control realizes it's a dry precinct? The Department of Liquor Control are the ones that should tell us it's a dry precinct, but some type of notification to that effect, that's certainly not outside of the boundaries of this.
You can't hold multiple types of licenses at the same site-specific location, so you can't hold a manufacturing license as well as a resale license.
You may have difficulty doing that because the rules of manufacturing are very specific. As far as you can manufacture, you can have a tasting room. Now, the manufacturing facility, there's different provisions as far as in the same building or within so many feet or right across a public street. But there are, variations with that.
I guess what I'm suggesting is that because no manufacturing licenses have been granted, that we should let the approving board know that a separate type of license has also been applied for, because you can't hold both.
It would not hurt. I mean, obviously it's not gonna hurt, and it would be something that this commission could do or the council could do.
And just to verify and kind of substantiate what you're saying, is at the last city council meeting, the city had an opportunity to make input on the Belleria Pizza, the Belleria application.
Which is local option.
And also for Rite Aid to transfer the license down here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there is provisions, I think, to have the city involved in those decisions to some degree.
The city is, in any C or D permit, which are not manufacturing, the city is going to have involvement by means of notification from liquor control. But when it's A licenses, they're not notifying us.
That's why I'm suggesting we notify them.
Good.
Well, the question is that a dry precinct or not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's no way, no matter what he applies for or not, he can get one, unless he's a manufacturer.
Or if the issue goes on the ballot.
Or you understand, he could manufacture.
He could, we already said that before. We already said that that wing place was okay to
But
manufacture.
he's also applied for one for the pool hall.
Yeah, that's right.
And has, not withdrawn that application, and is now, I'm being told that he.
I think before you get involved with the state, you get involved with him first.
I did.
Okay, and I think we have him here at planning commission. Here's the problem, you drag the state in, and I've dealt with the state a lot, and they kind of spin around and go around in circles, and you get some people who you've been talking to. Cause right now, what he's told us is that he's gonna manufacture at the wing place, okay, and have no beer or alcohol at the other place, okay? And I think it's actually backwards or whatever, that's his choice. But he has, as a city, as long as he comes to us, okay, when we're not supposed to make this decision back and forth, he's able to manufacture at both places as long as he's straightforward and open with it. Because we really can't tell what business to be there or not be there, right? I mean, we have made that preference that, hey.
Right, except it would be a different use. The planning commission approved it as a pool hall,
Right.
not a brewery.
That's right.
But we're not, as planning commission, we're not gonna start taking, he has to come in front of us before he ever starts doing that, but I don't think it's our, if he came to us and said, and this is the question is, if he came to us and said, I'm gonna do a pool hall and a brewery, are we gonna say no?
It would have probably changed my vote.
I could sort it as a business sense, it doesn't make sense to rent pool tables.
Yeah, but the question is what you asked first, which is I thought that we were trying as a planning commission to let people know that we approved that A1C license or not, when they come into us with the site plan review. Because we asked him that question when they came in for.
We actually, the motion that we made was to remove the taps from his drawing, right, in the minute.
Exactly.
Right, no, we pulled it off, my biggest thing is, we asked him to remove the stuff off the building, and he